Let me take you back to the morning my entire life collapsed. I was 50 years old, an age when most people start thinking about slowing down, enjoying what they built. I thought I was one of them. That Monday felt normal. I walked into Apex Global Industries, the company I helped build from dust. For 28 years, I served as CFO. I knew every file, every hidden account, every dollar that moved through those walls. I thought I was untouchable. I thought loyalty mattered. That morning, I kissed my wife Linda goodbye, told my daughter Sarah I'd make it home early that weekend for her graduation party, and even bought flowers for my secretary who'd been having a rough week. I was a man with plans, a man in control. Or so I believed. By 3 p.m., I was being escorted out by security, holding a cardboard box filled with the last pieces of my dignity. Fired. No warning, no real severance, just a cold email from the new CEO, Victor Lang, a man I mentored for 10 damn years. I still remember standing in his office while he leaned back in my chair behind my old oak desk and said, "Robert, the board wants fresh blood. Nothing personal." Nothing personal. Hours later, my phone began buzzing, industry friends sending me forwarded messages. Victor had emailed every major contact. "Robert Harlan is no longer with Apex. We advise against hiring him." In a single afternoon, I went from respected to blacklisted. I sat alone in the parking garage, inside my car, and cried like I hadn't cried in 30 years. And let me tell you, there was no pain like having to drive home and explain to your family that the life you built just vanished. The months that followed were brutal. Our savings disappeared faster than I could comprehend. The bank took our house. Linda picked up double shifts at the hospital, and Sarah had to drop her last semester just to help us survive. I applied to over 300 jobs, junior roles, consulting, anything. But Victor had poisoned every well. No one wanted a 50-year-old CFO with that controversial exit. And every rejection chipped away at me. My pride died slowly, painfully. One night, drunk on cheap whiskey, I looked in the mirror and saw a man I didn't recognize. A tired, bitter, defeated stranger. And that's when I hit rock bottom. I signed up to deliver pizzas. Me, a former CFO, wearing a tight red polo shirt and a baseball cap that looked ridiculous. I drove my old Honda through neighborhoods where I once attended charity events, delivering greasy boxes to people who used to shake my hand at board meetings. Some recognized me, some avoided eye contact, and tipped a pathetic $5. Then came the rainy Thursday night that changed everything. I was drenched and exhausted when I reached a huge gated mansion. The order was $82. Someone was clearly celebrating. When the gate opened, an older man in a simple sweater answered the door. No staff, no butler, nothing fancy, just a warm smile. He looked at me and said, "You're Robert Harlan." My heart nearly stopped. I froze, the pizza boxes shaking in my hands. "How do you know my name?" He stepped aside and said, "Come inside. You're soaked. We need to talk. My name is Edward Morrison, and 30 years ago, you saved my life." Inside his beautiful marble foyer, I stood dripping water on the floor, completely stunned. Edward Morrison. The name tugged at memories, but I couldn't place it. He brought me to a cozy study, handed me a towel, and poured water, not alcohol, and then he told me a story I had completely forgotten. More than 30 decades earlier, when I was just a junior accountant, I saved his tiny startup from collapsing. A decimal error would have bankrupted him overnight. I stayed until 4 a.m. fixing it, never asked for credit. That startup, it became Morrison Tech, a billion-dollar powerhouse. Edward told me he'd been trying to find me for years. And then he said something that rattled my bones. "I saw what they did to you at Apex. I know everything Victor did." I laughed bitterly. "Yeah, well, karma's slow." Edward shook his head. "Not anymore." Here's what I learned that night. Edward Morrison wasn't just wealthy. He was powerful. Quiet, powerful. The kind of powerful that moves markets without making headlines. For 6 months, his team had been investigating Apex because Victor was preparing to sell the company, and Morrison Tech was a potential buyer. During due diligence, Edward's people discovered something explosive. Victor had been committing fraud for years, cooking the books, moving money to offshore accounts, inflating profits to make the stock look golden before the sale. And the kicker? He planned to pin it all on me. I wasn't fired for being old or outdated. I was fired because I was the only one who could expose him. Edward slid a thick folder across the desk. Inside were emails, bank transfers, signatures, the truth that could burn Victor to ash. When I saw the proof, pages and pages of it, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. We didn't rush. Revenge done right takes patience. For 4 months, I worked secretly with Edward's legal and audit team, every document triple-checked, every witness protected, and I continued delivering pizzas to keep suspicion away. I let Victor believe he had fully destroyed me. Then came the morning everything flipped. Federal agents walked into Apex Global with warrants. The stock crashed. Victor was arrested on live TV. And when he looked up and saw me standing beside federal prosecutors in a tailored suit, not a pizza uniform, his face drained of color. The news exploded everywhere. Apex CEO arrested in $400 million fraud. Whistleblower CFO Robert Harlan returns with evidence. Victor tried everything, lies, tears, even blaming me. But the truth swallowed him whole. He lost his position, his reputation, and eventually his freedom. But what happened next shocked even me. Edward Morrison transferred 5% of Morrison Tech, worth $823 million, into my name. Not charity. A thank you 32 years late. I bought back our home in cash. Sarah finished college, Linda retired early, and I, finally, got my name back. Companies who once ignored me begged for meetings. I declined them all. Instead, I started the Harlan Foundation to help people over 50 who've been wrongfully pushed out of their careers. I give them lawyers, training, and a path back to dignity. Victor still writes me letters from prison, begging for forgiveness. I don't reply, not because I'm cruel, but because some betrayals don't deserve answers. People think my story is about revenge. It's not. It's about holding on to who you are, even when the world tries to crush you. I delivered pizzas to people who once shook my hand proudly. I swallowed humiliation, but I never lost my integrity. And sometimes that's the very thing that saves you. Never doubt that the good you did years ago might circle back when you least expect it. Sometimes the worst night of your life becomes the doorway to everything you deserve. And if you're standing in your own storm right now, hear this from me. You are worth more than they ever told you. Sometimes justice arrives quietly, like a warm pizza handed to you on a rainy night. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss an upload. And share it with your friends. Drop a comment below and tell me, how did you like the video? And where are you watching from right now? Let's see how far this community reaches.